Effective immediately. HR downstairs, 5 words, that's all Ashley Martinez said before she dropped the termination notice on my desk and walked out. No handshake, no explanation. Just a piece of paper that would detonate a $285 million merger in exactly 72 hours. She had no idea what she'd just done. I'm Brandon Cooper. I'm 54 years old, and I just got fired from Titan Tech Defense Systems, the company I'd given 26 years of my life to. I looked down at the notice. Expensive cream paper, the kind they use when they want to make something look official. My name at the top, the date and time stamped across the middle. I checked my watch. It was exactly noon on a Monday. My $127,000 performance bonus was scheduled to hit my account Thursday at noon, 72 hours from now. Ashley thought she was being clever. Cut me loose before payday. Save the company money. What she didn't know was that bonus wasn't just money. It was a tripwire connected to the one thing holding her merger together. Here's what you need to understand about that $100 in dollars. It was tied to a clause written 14 years ago by the company founder, Colonel Scott Williams. Scott was a retired Marine, the kind of man who believed your word meant something, and loyalty went both ways. When he wrote that clause into my contract, he made sure nobody could ever strip away what we'd built together. The clause was simple. Once that bonus paid, full ownership of our core defense protocol, the Iron Shield system, would automatically transfer to me, not symbolically, legally. And without that system, Titan Tech had nothing to offer CyberGuard Industries. Ashley had just armed a bomb she didn't know existed. I signed the termination notice without a word. My hand didn't shake. I stood up, grabbed my coat, and headed for the elevator. HR was waiting in the lobby like they were escorting a criminal. I nodded and kept walking. On my desk, I'd left a small black USB drive. I saw Ashley glance at it as I passed her office. She probably thought it was my backup, proof she'd secured everything she needed. That drive was empty. Had been for years. Every real backup, every line of code for the Iron Shield system was locked behind biometric encryption only I could access. I got in my truck and drove home. The city looked normal, people going about their Monday. Nobody knew that in 72 hours, the biggest defense merger of the year would collapse, and it would all trace back to 5 words in an office. When I walked through the front door, Nicole was in the kitchen. She took one look at my face and set down her coffee.
Brandon?
I got fired. What happened? Ashley walked into my office at noon and handed me a termination notice. Effective immediately. Nicole's been my wife for 28 years. She's seen me through 6 years in the Air Force, through all-nighters when systems crashed, through crises that would have broken other marriages. But this was different. Rachel's in her junior year at college. Kevin just started at State. We've got tuition payments and a mortgage. Plus, my blood pressure medication costs $300 a month without insurance. Why would she do that? Because she's trying to cut me out before my bonus pays. She thinks she's saving $127,000. And the clause, she just triggered it. In 72 hours, I'll own the Iron Shield system, not Titan Tech. Nicole pulled out the chair across from me. What about the merger? Dead without it. She was quiet for a moment. Then she said something I wasn't ready for. Brandon, you've given them 26 years. What about us? What about Rachel and Kevin? What about your health? That hit harder than the termination. 4 months ago, my doctor told me my blood pressure was dangerously high. He put me on medication and said I needed to cut stress, lose weight, maybe think about early retirement. I'd promised Nicole we'd go to Colorado for a month when this merger closed. Just us, a cabin, and no phones. I know what I promised. Do you? Because you've been talking about slowing down for 3 years, and you're still there every weekend. This is different. How? Because Scott trusted me to protect what we built, and Ashley just tried to destroy it because she didn't bother reading the contract she's supposed to be managing. Nicole studied my face. She wasn't angry, just tired. Then finish it. But when this is over, we're going to Colorado. No arguments. Deal. I went upstairs to my home office and powered up my workstation. A countdown clock appeared on screen, red numbers ticking down. 71 hours, 58 minutes, 42 seconds. Let me tell you about Scott Williams. I met him 26 years ago when I was 28, fresh out of my Air Force contractor work. Titan Tech was nothing back then, just a warehouse full of engineers trying to build cybersecurity for military contracts. Scott saw something in me that first day. Maybe it was the discipline from my service. Maybe it was that we both believed the same thing. If you're going to build something, build it right and protect the people who help you do it. Over the years, I became the guy they called when everything was on fire. In 2021, when a ransomware attack hit the power grid, I was the one who stayed up 72 hours straight rebuilding our protocols from bare metal. Half the eastern seaboard could have gone dark. We stopped it with 8 minutes to spare. When the Pentagon needed quantum-resistant encryption for infrastructure that controlled nuclear facilities, I designed the system. When our biggest client demanded 0-day patches in 48 hours, I delivered in 36. I didn't do it for awards. I did it because that's what you do when you're part of something that matters. Here's the thing about Scott Williams that made him different. 14 years ago, he asked me to meet him at a steakhouse in Arlington. It was a Thursday night, both of us exhausted from a week of crisis management. Over bourbon, he told me he'd written something into my contract that nobody else knew about. "Brandon," he said, "I've been in this business long enough to see what happens when the wrong people take control. They gut everything that made a place worth a damn. I won't let that happen to what we built." He explained the clause. My annual bonus wasn't just compensation, it was a legal trigger. Once paid, the intellectual property rights for the Iron Shield system would transfer to me automatically. The transfer agreement was already executed, held in escrow, waiting for that payment confirmation from Titan Tech's payroll system. "You'll own it," Scott said. "Nobody can steal it, sell it to the wrong buyer, or run it into the ground." I remember setting down my glass. "Scott, that's your life's work." "No, it's our life's work, and I trust you to protect it more than I trust any board of directors." At the time, I thought he was being paranoid. But Scott had survived 2 tours in Vietnam and 30 years in defense contracting. He knew how to see threats before they materialized. Now, sitting at my desk watching that countdown, I understood. Scott had seen this coming 14 years before it happened. He'd built a failsafe, and Ashley had just activated it. I checked my security protocols. Credentials valid, encryption keys untouched, no unauthorized access attempts. Ashley and her IT team hadn't even tried to breach the system. They thought that empty USB drive was enough. Then I set up one more thing. An automated email scheduled to send if the licensing rights weren't renewed before the timer hit 0. The recipients, 3 lawyers at CyberGuard Industries. The message was direct. As of Thursday 1200 noon, Titan Tech Defense Systems will no longer hold valid licensing rights to the Iron Shield protocol central to the CyberGuard integration. Please review Section 14 of the merger agreement. Section 14. The key personnel continuity clause. It listed 3 people as essential to the merger integration. I was first on that list. If any of us left before completion, CyberGuard had the right to delay, renegotiate, or walk away. Ashley had never read it. I'd bet my pension on that. The email would send automatically. No button to push, no dramatic moment. Just a quiet notification that would tear apart everything she'd been bragging about for 8 months. I went back downstairs. Nicole had dinner on the table. We ate in silence, both of us thinking about what came next. Afterward, I sat on the porch with my bourbon and watched the sun go down over the neighborhood. My phone rang twice. Unknown numbers. I let them go to voicemail. There'd be time for conversations later. Right now, the clock was ticking and Ashley Martinez had no idea the ground was crumbling underneath her feet. The next morning, I woke up before sunrise. Nicole was still asleep. I went downstairs, made coffee, and checked my phone. 3 missed calls, all from numbers I didn't recognize. 2 voicemails. I deleted them without listening. The countdown on my computer read 59 hours, 12 minutes, 7 seconds. I was halfway through my coffee when my phone rang again. This time it was a reporter from a financial news outlet. The email came through first, polite but direct. She'd heard rumors about personnel changes at Titan Tech related to the CyberGuard merger. Did I have any comment? I wrote back one line. Ask them about Section 14. That's all it took. Section 14 was buried in the merger agreement, the key personnel continuity clause, 3 names listed as essential. Mine was first. Ashley had signed it 8 months ago without reading the fine print. Now, a reporter was about to start asking questions that would make CyberGuard's lawyers very uncomfortable. I went for a walk. The morning air was cold, the streets mostly empty. I needed to clear my head. My chest felt tight. That familiar pressure I'd been ignoring for months. The doctor's voice echoed in my head, "Your blood pressure's dangerously high, Brandon. You need to reduce stress." I pushed the thought away and kept walking. By the time I got home, my inbox had a new message. Michelle Brown, lead counsel for CyberGuard Industries, she wanted to talk. I called her back. Mr. Cooper, thank you for taking my call. We've had some questions raised about the merger agreement, specifically Section 14. We were hoping you could provide clarity. I kept my voice level. Section 14 is your key personnel continuity clause. You should have the original agreement on file. Yes, we do, but there's ambiguity about the licensing rights if certain personnel are no longer with Titan Tech during integration. No ambiguity, I said. The language is explicit. Without my role, the licensing rights for the Iron Shield system don't remain with Titan Tech. Silence on the other end. Then, would you confirm whether those rights are currently in force? The licensing certificate was last validated while I was employed. My status changed yesterday. If you want confirmation beyond that, ask Titan Tech for the current certificate. She let out a breath. Understood. Thank you for your time. 10 minutes later, my inbox exploded. Someone at CyberGuard had forwarded an internal email chain to the wrong distribution list, and my address got caught in it. The entire conversation was there. Michelle had sent an urgent request to Titan Tech's legal team demanding immediate proof of ownership for the Iron Shield system. Her email was direct. As per Section 14, the absence of Brandon Cooper from Titan Tech employment raises substantial risk to licensing validity. Provide current certification showing active, uncontested ownership. The forwarded chain also showed that Craig Thompson, one of Titan Tech's board directors, was now copied. Craig was the pragmatic one, the guy who actually read contracts. He'd be asking questions Ashley couldn't answer. I closed my laptop and didn't forward the email anywhere. The less I moved, the more they'd scramble. That afternoon, my phone rang. It was Jordan Phillips, one of our senior engineers. I'd been training Jordan for 4 years, teaching him not just the technical work, but how to think like an architect. Mr. Cooper, I wanted you to know something. What's that? Ashley called me into her office this morning. She offered me VP of Engineering, $180,000 salary. Said I could start Monday. I waited. I told her, I don't work for titles. I work for people who earn respect. Then I walked out. I felt relief wash over me. You didn't have to do that, Jordan. Yeah, I did. You taught me integrity matters more than money. I'm not forgetting that because she's waving a bigger check. I appreciate it. One more thing. She asked me where you kept the Iron Shield backups. I told her I didn't know. She had IT trying to access your old workstation. They won't find anything. That's what I figured. Just wanted you to know she's panicking. After we hung up, I sat back and thought about what Jordan had said. Ashley was scrambling, trying every angle she could think of, but it was too late. The clause was already in motion. Nicole came into the office with a sandwich. You need to eat. I'm fine. Brandon, you look exhausted. When's the last time you slept properly? I slept last night. For 4 hours. I heard you get up. She set the plate down. This isn't just about the merger, is it? I looked at her. What do you mean? You're carrying something. You have been for years. It's not just about protecting Scott's legacy. It's about proving you were right to give them 26 years. She wasn't wrong. Part of me needed Ashley to understand what she'd thrown away. Not for revenge. For validation. To know that all those nights, all those weekends, all those times I chose work over family dinners actually meant something. Maybe, I said. Nicole squeezed my shoulder. Finish it. Then we're going to Colorado and you're going to let this go. That evening, the news broke. Titan Tech Defense Systems stock dropped 18%. The financial networks ran alerts. Unconfirmed risk in CyberGuard merger. Key licensing question raises investor concerns. Titan Tech declines comment. I watched it unfold on my phone. Inside Titan Tech headquarters, it would be chaos. Emergency board meetings, lawyers scrambling, Ashley trying to explain how this happened while her father, Ryan Martinez, demanded answers. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. We need you back, but not under Ashley. That was Craig Thompson. I recognized the phrasing. He'd been in enough meetings with me to know my value, but I didn't respond. Not yet. Some offers are worth making them ask twice. Another news alert came through. CyberGuard Industries declines to reaffirm merger timeline. That was the shot across the bow. It told investors the deal might not close. It told Titan Tech's board they'd lost control of the situation. And it told Ashley that the clock I'd set was ticking louder than anything she could do to stop it. I checked the countdown, 47 hours, 33 minutes, 18 seconds. Nicole and I had dinner together that night. Rachel called from college. worried because she'd seen the news about Titan Tech online. I told her everything was fine, that I'd landed on my feet. It wasn't a lie. Not really. After dinner, I sat on the porch again with my bourbon. The neighborhood was quiet. Somewhere across town, Ashley was probably still in that conference room trying to convince the board she had everything under control. She didn't, and in less than 48 hours, everyone would know it. The call came at 9:47 Wednesday morning. Ashley's number flashed on my screen. I let it ring 3 times before answering. Brandon Cooper. Where the hell have you been? Her voice was sharp, barely controlled. CyberGuard's legal team called me. They said they spoke to you. What did you tell them? Good morning to you too. Don't. They're acting like there's a problem with Section 14. What did you say? Have you read the contract? Silence, the kind that stretches too long. I've reviewed the key sections, she said finally. I'd recommend reading all of it, especially the parts your legal team didn't flag. Brandon, this isn't a game. They want proof of ownership for the Iron Shield system. We can't find the certificate. Which system are you checking? The legal vault, the contract archive. I almost smiled. That's interesting. Last time I checked, the licensing certificate was in a separate vault, one with restricted access. The vault you controlled. I glanced at my monitor. The countdown read 26 hours, 13 minutes, 51 seconds. Brandon, just tell me where it is. That would require me to still work for the company. I don't. I heard her moving shoes, clicking fast against hard floors. If we can't produce that certificate, the merger, she stopped herself. If you can't produce it, I said quietly, CyberGuard will invoke the delay clause. 9 months minimum, maybe longer. And during that time, they'll decide whether this deal is worth salvaging. Damn it, Brandon. The shout cracked. This is my reputation on the line. Yes, it is. Neither of us spoke. Then she tried again, voice softer. Look, if we work something out, if I talk to the board about reinstating you, I'm not coming back, Ashley, but read your contract, all of it. I ended the call. Nicole walked in a minute later. That was her. Yeah, how'd it go? About like you'd expect. She handed me a glass of water. You look pale. You okay? The tightness in my chest was back, sharper this time. I waved it off. Just stress. I'm fine. Brandon, you promised me. After this was done, I know. Colorado, I remember. She didn't look convinced, but she let it go. An hour later, the market opened and Titan Tech stock dropped another 9%. Total decline. 27% in 2 days. The news coverage intensified. Financial analysts were downgrading the stock from hold to sell. One analyst used the phrase catastrophic due diligence failure. Another called it executive negligence at the highest level. My phone lit up with notifications. Someone had leaked audio from a Titan Tech board meeting. I clicked the link. The recording was muffled, but clear enough. Craig Thompson's voice. Ashley, walk me through this. You terminated Cooper 72 hours before his bonus payment, the same bonus tied to the IP transfer clause. Did you read that section of his contract? Ashley, I was told the bonus was standard compensation. Craig, by who? Because legal flagged this clause 14 years ago when Scott wrote it. It's in the files. Ryan Martinez, Ashley's father, will fix this. We'll offer Cooper whatever he wants. Craig, he won't take it. I already reached out. He's not interested in coming back. Ryan, then we'll sue. Breach of contract, theft of intellectual property. Craig, on what grounds? The transfer clause is legal. Scott and Cooper structured it as a personal consulting agreement separate from standard employment terms. It's airtight. The recording cut off. I sat back, letting it sink in. The board was fracturing. Ashley's credibility was gone, and Ryan was realizing his daughter had just destroyed the biggest deal of his career. That afternoon, another bombshell. CyberGuard Industries released a statement. Due to unresolved contractual concerns, CyberGuard is suspending merger negotiations with Titan Tech Defense Systems pending further review. Not terminated. Suspended, that was worse. It meant they were keeping the door open while they explored other options, and I knew exactly what option they were exploring. An hour later, my phone rang. Lance Patterson, CEO of CyberGuard Industries. Mr. Cooper, I wanted to inform you personally. We're suspending the Titan Tech merger. I saw the statement. There's another reason I'm calling. My legal team reviewed your background. 26 years at Titan Tech. Primary architect on every major DoD contract they've won. The Iron Shield system's success is clearly tied to you, not the company. I waited. We drafted an alternative proposal yesterday. A direct partnership between CyberGuard and you personally. If you're interested, I looked at the countdown. 14 hours, 8 minutes, 22 seconds. I'd need to review the terms. I'll send it within the hour. Mr. Cooper, I'll be direct. We need someone we can trust. That's you, not Titan Tech. After we hung up, I sat there for a long moment. It was really happening. Not just the merger collapse, but everything after. A new path forward, one where I controlled the terms. The news broke fast. CyberGuard suspends Titan Tech merger. Defense deal in jeopardy over personnel dispute. CEO's daughter faces board scrutiny. My phone buzzed. An email from Patterson. Subject, partnership proposal. Cooper Defense Solutions. I opened it. The terms were generous. 3-year consulting contract. $12 million total compensation. Equity stake in the Iron Shield deployment. Complete creative control over technical decisions. Part-time work. Remote when possible. It was everything I'd wanted and never asked for. I forwarded it to my attorney with a note. Review this. I think we have a deal. His response came back in 5 minutes. This is excellent. Better than anything Titan Tech ever offered you. Let's move forward. I didn't sleep much that night. Nicole found me at 3 a.m., sitting at my desk watching the countdown tick down. She didn't say anything, just put her hand on my shoulder and stayed there until I finally came back to bed. Thursday morning arrived cold and clear. I made coffee and sat on the porch watching the neighborhood wake up. My phone was off. I didn't need distractions for what came next. At 11:55 a.m., I went upstairs and opened my laptop. The countdown read 4 minutes, 38 seconds. Nicole stood in the doorway watching. You sure about this? She asked. Yeah, I'm sure. The numbers ticked down. 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute. At exactly 1200 noon, the screen flashed. Transfer complete. No alarms, no fanfare. Just a simple notification and a PDF that appeared on screen. I opened it. The licensing certificate for the Iron Shield protocol. Updated automatically. Owner Brandon Cooper. 26 years of work. Now mine. My phone was still off, but when I turned it back on an hour later, it exploded. 47 missed calls, 73 text messages. My voicemail was full. The news had already broken. CyberGuard Industries announces exclusive partnership with Cooper Defense Solutions. One of the texts was from Jordan. Sir, I saw the news. Does this mean what I think it means? I called him back. It means I'm starting a consulting firm and I'm bringing you on as technical director if you're interested. Absolutely. When do we start? 30 days. I've got to take my wife to Colorado first. You earned it, sir. Another text came through from Ryan Martinez. Brandon, this is Ryan. I owe you an apology. I was blind to what Ashley did. If there's any way to make this right. I stared at the message for a long time. Ryan wasn't a bad man. He just made the mistake every parent makes, thinking his child could do no wrong. But some things can't be fixed with apologies. I wrote back. I appreciate that, Ryan, but it's time for both of us to move forward. Good luck. The financial networks were running the story all day. Titan Tech stock was in free fall, down 35% total. One headline read, how would a $127K bonus clause destroyed a $285 million deal. That evening, Craig Thompson called one more time. Brandon, I won't take much of your time. I just wanted to say I'm sorry. We should have protected you better. Scott would have been ashamed of how this went down. Scott built the protection I needed 14 years ago. He knew what could happen. He was smarter than all of us. Craig paused. For what it's worth, Ashley's no longer with the company. The board asked for her resignation this morning. On Monday, I signed the partnership agreement with CyberGuard. Tuesday morning, Nicole and I loaded up the truck and headed west toward Colorado. We'd rented a cabin on a lake. No cell service, nothing but water and trees and silence. When we got to the cabin, I stood on the dock and looked out at the water. The sun was going down, made everything look golden. Nicole came up beside me. You did it, she said. We did it. I couldn't have made it through without you. 2 weeks into Colorado, my phone rang. It was a Pentagon area code. Mr. Cooper, we have a situation. Critical infrastructure breach we need. I'll have my team contact you. Jordan Phillips will handle it. But sir, we specifically requested. Jordan's good. Better than good. Trust him. I hung up and went back to the porch where my granddaughter was trying to tie a fishing knot. She was 8, all focus and determination. Grandpa, did you really used to work for the army? Sort of. I built systems that kept important things safe. Are you going to do it again? I thought about that for a while. I'm going to teach other people how to do it. And then I'm going to retire and take you fishing more often. She grinned. Deal. That night, Nicole and I sat on the dock watching stars. The kind you can only see when you're far from cities and obligations. Any regrets? She asked. About leaving? No. About how it ended? Maybe. I wish Ashley had just read the contract. Would have saved everyone a lot of pain. Nicole leaned her head on my shoulder. Scott would be proud of you. Yeah. I think he would. 72 hours changed everything. But it took 26 years to get there. Ashley thought she was being smart with that termination notice. What she really did was prove something I'd been wondering about for years. Does loyalty still matter? Does doing the work right still count for anything? Turns out it does, just not always where you expect it to. I'm 54 years old. I've got 3 years of consulting left. Then I'm done. And somewhere in Virginia, there's a boardroom learning the hard way that some people can't be replaced. Not because they're irreplaceable, but because they earned it. First Insight frames revenge as simply allowing natural consequences, appealing to the mature perspective of the 50-plus male audience who value justice over drama. Second Insight captures the core theme about competence and recognition, the ultimate validation that resonates with experienced professionals who felt undervalued.